A very busy signing day here. So let's talk winners and losers. And you guys, I really enjoy this because, of course, we got the teams at the very top. We've been talking about them all day. We'll continue to talk about them. But some other winners that you've noticed today.
Let's talk about Alabama's main rival. I think they've considered Auburn. You know, they've had a really good day. Landed the nation's #1 junior college quarterback, Keontae Scott. Landed a wide receiver out of South Florida, and Camden Brown, who was pretty much committed to Pitt. I actually had a Pitt coach text me that they thought they were getting him. So I like what Auburn's done. Sticking in the SEC, Tennessee. We saw Justin Williams, the running back, announced this morning on CBS Sports HQ to the Volunteers. I think they've had a really good day and just really a good month in general. So those are two that I like that can definitely consider winners.
Steve, you mentioned Auburn and Tennessee. What do you like?
Spatula City in Austin, Texas, flipping 3 kids today, led by Terrence Brooks, an Ohio State commit, a coveted player at that position. Texas is recruiting the defensive front at a high level and linebacker. Now you bring in a potential lockdown corner in Terrence Brooks. And so I think that Texas has been fun to follow this morning, and I don't think they're done on the trail as we get going into the evening and into February.
Is this enough, though, to put the Longhorns a little bit back on the map next season, given what we saw this past season?
Well, obviously there's been a bunch of hype about Quinn Ewers coming to them in the transfer portal, and that's massive. I mean, he is a guy that you can build your program around under center, but your ceiling is still capped if you're not good at the point of attack. And Texas has recruited the offensive line at a terrific level. Kelvin Banks, a 5-star offensive lineman, at one point committed to Oregon. They beat out Texas A&M for him. They keep Nito Umeozulu in the fold today, despite some late pushes from Baylor and Oklahoma. They have Cole Hudson committed. They may land DJ Campbell. And then we talked about defense. Love what they've done in the front 7. The secondary is really coming together. Now, people are tweeting at you when you say something nice about Texas on Twitter. Is Texas back? And it's like, look, man, these guys are teenagers. Let's give them some time. But it is really trending well. This class that Coach Sarkisian and his staff have together can be a terrific foundation for them moving forward.
And I just want to jump in here and say, if we add Quinn Ewers into the new 24/7 Sports tool, so it combines the transfer rankings with the football team rankings, they'd have the #4 class, right? So that's right behind those 3 SEC schools, Auburn, or not Auburn, excuse me, Alabama, Georgia, and Texas A&M. So I think that's interesting to point out. The portal is part of this thing, right? It's part of everything. I mentioned it with Michigan State. They've gotten some big guys as well. So #4, if you wanted to look at it from that point of perspective.
Michigan State could get a bigger person. Stick around here on HQ for more on that after the 5 o'clock hour. Let's talk about losers, though. Not that we want to call anybody a loser. Who are your losers today?
Well, it's got to start with Florida State, right? I mentioned it with Marvin Jones. He was a legacy recruit. Did they think they were going to get him today? Probably not. Nigel Lee Kelly, who we saw pick for Miami. That was a guy they once held a commitment for. They also lost his teammate, Devon Mortimer, to Louisville. That wasn't expected. I thought it was going to be West Virginia. Steve actually kind of had the insight there. So that's rough. They did get some guys in the boat, but I mean, this is not the signing day that they expected. And then we got to talk about Travis Hunter. I mean, Travis Hunter was committed to Florida State. They thought he was in the boat. He's going to Jackson State. I mean, look at this video. And he puts on the Florida State hat. We kind of heard some rumors about him potentially. And then it's Jackson State. And then my guy Josh Pate points out, look at him put on that jacket. We're not even getting to it. But generational talent. You know, everyone at Florida, if the most casual Florida State fan knew who Travis Hunter was. Probably someone that just took classes there and knew who he was.
Yeah.
And now he's going to Jackson State. So that's a major blow for the Noles.
Steve, do you have any losers that you would like to touch on?
Yeah, unfortunately, you look at the Clemson Tigers, and it's a program that didn't finish with the steam that we're used to seeing them recruit at. This is a program that maybe doesn't finish in the top 5 because they typically take smaller classes, but when you look at pound for pound, average ranking per commit, Clemson's always in the top 3 or 4 or 5 in that regard, but this close here, they see Dalen Everett end up in Georgia's class, Jahad Campbell end up in Alabama's class, Keon Sabb end up in Michigan's class, and maybe Jaron Kanak end up in Oklahoma's class. Those are all programs that they're competing for to win a national championship, and those are guys that would have helped keep them in that equation.
Oh, you mentioned it there, Steve. If you remove Jared, they'd be number 23 in the rankings right now. Only 12 players. And I said this a few hours ago. There is a second signing period, right? We got February. I just don't think Clemson's going to get involved with many of those guys. Trevor Etienne, who's Travis Etienne's brother, that's a mouthful. He's still in play, but I think Florida's a team to watch there. Billy Napier has been recruiting or known the younger Etienne since his days at ULL, because that's in Louisiana. I'm all mixed up here. So, I don't know how Clemson adds this. They're probably going to have to go to the transfer portal, and Dabo has been so opposed to the transfer portal. That's one of the most fascinating things I think to follow over the next few weeks.
All right, so those are your winners and losers. Good days for the teams in orange, including Tennessee and Texas. We apologize to all our Florida State fans. As a reminder, early signing day, National Signing Day. You can check out everything you need to know from this particular day with our friends over at 24/7 Sports, the latest news. You're going to also find commitments there and those up-rated team rankings as they continue to change by the minute.